Imagine a world where you don't have to fear the next meltdown. No more guessing about what's coming next, walking on eggshells, and no more feelings of frustration when your child can't seem to control their emotions. Instead, you're equipped with the tools to guide them through these intense moments, helping them learn how to regulate themselves. In today's episode, we're going to explore practical strategies that will give you a clear roadmap to handle your child's emotional struggles and create more peaceful moments together. If you're ready to take control of these moments and change the emotional tone in your home, well, let's dive in. Welcome to Calm Connection Parenting, where we buckle up for the emotional roller coaster of raising intense and highly sensitive kids and discover some amazing things along the way. I'm your host, Jamie Kirkbride, a mom of 7, parenting coach, professional counselor, and your guide through the wild world of meltdowns, challenging behaviors, and big emotions. If you're exhausted and overwhelmed, feeling like you're always one step away from chaos, searching for a little calm in your day, then you're in the right place. Here, you'll find practical tools and faith-based strategies to transform your family. Together, we'll laugh, we'll learn, and we'll figure out how to turn those messy meltdowns into moments of connection. Let's jump in. Hello there, and welcome back to the Calm Connection Parenting Podcast. If you're tuning in today, it might be because you're feeling the pressure of those intense emotions with your child. Those moments when the feelings are so big, they're just a little too much for both of you to handle. And trust me, I get it. As parents of highly sensitive, emotionally intense children, we know all too well how overwhelming it can be when our kids start spiraling, and we simply feel at a loss for how to help them. But here's the good news. You don't have to feel powerless when emotions start taking over. With the right strategies, you can support your child in a way that helps them manage, process, and eventually regulate those big, intense feelings. Now, before we dive into the top 10 ways to help your child calm down, let's first take a quick moment to understand what is emotional dysregulation. Emotional dysregulation is when someone, typically, and as we will discuss it today, a child, struggles to manage and respond to their emotions in a healthy way. It's when their feelings become so big that they overwhelm the child's ability to cope or to think through the situation. What's the response? Well, we've seen it and we've heard it. Meltdowns, tantrums, outbursts, frustration, maybe even rage that may seem disproportionate to the situation or the trigger. Children with emotional dysregulation often don't have the tools or skills yet to navigate the intensity of their emotions. And that's okay because they're still learning. They're still growing. They're still figuring so much of that out. As their parent, you have an incredible opportunity to help guide them through this, to teach them not only how to identify and manage their big feelings, but also how to express them. Maybe it would be helpful to understand some of the science behind emotional dysregulation. When a child is experiencing emotional dysregulation, their brain goes into a heightened state of stress, which then activates the fight or flight response. This triggers the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing emotions. This can then override the functioning of the prefrontal cortex, which is the area of the brain that's responsible for logic, for reasoning, for decision making. When the amygdala is activated during intense emotions like anger, fear, or frustration, it can cause what we might refer to as an amygdala hijack, meaning the emotional response overtakes the logical, rational thinking process. This makes it so much harder for a child to think logically, rationally, or make decisions during a meltdown. There's also the release of cortisol, which is also known as the stress hormone, during dysregulation, and it impairs cognitive function. reducing the ability for them to process information, regulate their emotions, make good choices, and think clearly. Emotionally dysregulated children often experience overwhelming emotions, and their ability to process these emotions effectively can be hindered by several factors, including an impaired emotional regulation. When a child is unable to regulate their emotions, they can become too overwhelmed to process information and do this logical thinking. In the heat of the moment, they may not be able to think about the consequences of their actions or even use good problem-solving strategies. During dysregulation, the child may become hypersensitive to sensory input. This increased sensory sensitivity can further impair their ability to focus and reason. Everything starts to feel too overwhelming and keeps them from being able to process information and do what they need to do. Trauma and stress is another contributor. If a child has experienced trauma or is under chronic stress, their emotional regulation abilities can also be compromised, and it complicates it even further for them to access the logic and the reasoning during these difficult moments. The brain's ability to engage in logical thought is significantly reduced during these heightened emotional states due to the physiological response of their brain. It's like their body and brain are in survival mode, and the logical thinking part of their brain is temporarily less available. This is why it's important for parents or caregivers to focus on calming the child down first, which can help regulate the brain and allow the child to think more clearly once the emotional intensity subsides. Now, a very important part of this journey involves building an emotional vocabulary. Maybe you've heard me talk about that before, but teaching your child it's okay to feel emotions, even the ones that we might label or think of as undesirable, like anger, frustration, sadness. This is where emotional acceptance comes in. It's about helping your child know that their feelings are valid, they're welcome, and you're going to do your very best possible to understand them, even if you don't agree, and even if their behavior might need some redirection as they express it. One of the first things I want you to start practicing is giving your child words to name their emotions. In the counseling world, we like to say, you name it to tame it. Instead of just feeling bad, help them understand what's really going on. Are they frustrated? Are they angry? Are they disappointed? Are they discouraged? As you do this, remember that it's important to model emotional vocabulary yourself. When you're feeling upset, I encourage you to take a moment to say, I feel frustrated because this didn't go the way I wanted it to. Or maybe, I'm feeling sad right now because something happened that I didn't expect. This shows your child that it's okay to have those feelings and that feelings themselves aren't bad or something to be ashamed of or even avoid. Instead, we want them to gain the confidence to walk through the emotions that they feel, knowing they can control them rather than being controlled by them. And I know that will take some practice. One of the first ways we can convey confidence in managing emotions is that we show them, first of all, we can control ours. Yep, we model it. Second, we want to convey that we are strong enough to handle their feelings, so they too can grow in confidence to handle their own big emotions. Now that we've got that foundation in place, let's jump into those top 10 strategies to help your child calm down during those emotional dysregulation moments. Number 1, pause and choose calm. When your child is dysregulated, the first thing you need to do is take a moment for yourself. That's right. In the coaching program, we call this the powerful pause. Simply stop talking and take a deep breath. Choose to bring your calm to the situation. Your child is looking to you for guidance, so what you bring to the table is critical. If you react with frustration, anger, intensity, or panic, they're likely only going to escalate. But when you stay grounded, you're giving them something they can mirror and the space to start calming themselves too. Number 2, pick your position and posture. Sometimes where we are physically can affect our emotional state. Sometimes we approach our child already worried on the inside that things are going to go bad and fast. And so in our rush to get on top of things, we may be communicating this added level of threat to our child since their systems are already overactive and alert for anything that could bring threat or harm to them. So I encourage you to move slowly. Be aware of their space bubble and try to get down to your child's level when they're upset. Not up in their face, but on their level. Kneel or sit beside them so that you're not looming over them, but rather engaging on equal ground. This posture or position can be perceived more as help than one of control or power. Some children may even need to have a clear path of escape. So be mindful that you don't cause them to feel trapped by where you position yourself in relation to them. Where you place yourself in their space has the ability to make them feel more secure and supported and less threatened and on guard. Number 3, keep it simple. Tone and few words. Your voice tone can make all the difference. Keep it calm, gentle, and soothing. No shouting or harsh tones. Now, while you might feel like low and slow tones will help, be aware because for some kids that signals a problem. And it can be a further trigger if they think they're in trouble or that you're angry or upset. So work to understand what your child might need. And few words. Too many words can overwhelm your child in the moment. So focus on short, simple phrases like, I see you're upset, or I'm here for you, or even, how can I help? Keep it simple, brief, and clear without emotion. Number 4, validate your child's emotions. Now, this one is huge. When your child is melting down, they don't need to hear you say, stop crying, or this is a typical one, calm down, or now come on, don't be mad. Instead, I encourage you to say something like, I see you're really angry, or it's okay to feel upset. Can I help? This validation tells your child that their emotions are seen, heard, and accepted. Notice I didn't say that you agree, but that you can accept that that's what they're feeling. You don't have to agree. But it also conveys that they aren't alone to figure it out. Your tone, your words, and your calm will help them feel like these emotions can be managed. Sometimes it's hard to validate because you may be afraid that if you acknowledge what it is that they're feeling, you're only going to be feeding the fire. But you know what? It doesn't work that way. In fact, you might be feeding the fire if you don't validate because they are going to escalate their emotions and possibly behaviors until they know that you get it. Number 5, pay attention to what gets attention and choose what to give attention to. When your child is upset, it can be so tempting to try to fix everything in the moment, correct the inaccuracies, or point out the bad behaviors, but this isn't the time for that. Sometimes all they need is for you to be present and not work to solve the problem. Be mindful of where you put your attention. If your child is starting to calm down but keeps escalating, it might be okay to gently redirect their focus to something else. But keep calm and learn to read your child's cues. You have to become a student of your child. And if you venture into something else and it doesn't work, they may not be regulated enough to make the shift yet. Just give it a little more time. Now, we're talking about the top 10 strategies for helping your child calm, and we've covered the first 5. Pause and choose calm. Pick your position and posture. Keep it simple with words and tone. Validate your child's emotion. Pay attention to what gets attention. And when we return, we're going to talk about the other 5. But first, I'd like to share this message with you about the Calm Connection Parent Coaching Program. We are starting a new group coaching session very soon in June. So if you have been looking for support, practical tools, and a community of like-minded parents that get it, well, this coaching program was created for you. So I'd like to share this message with you. Here's more. Are your child's emotions and challenging behaviors pushing you to the edge? You're not alone. From constant struggles to emotional outbursts, it's easy to feel like you're just one step away from chaos. But what if I told you there's a better way? In the Calm Connection program, you'll get access to a video course, workbooks, and a supportive community to learn practical, faith-based strategies for handling even the toughest of behaviors. But the best part, you get weekly coaching calls with me, where we can explore your child or family's specific struggles and work together for some solutions. If you're tired of trying methods that just don't work, or you feel like you don't have time to add one more thing to your plate, don't worry. This program was designed to fit into a busy parent's life and give you real solutions with some quick wins too. Ready to take the first step toward a calmer home? Visit calmconnectionparent.com and learn more about the Calm Connection coaching program. You've got this, and I'm here to support you. Like I said, we're opening a new group soon, so don't miss out. And just so you know, payment plans and scholarships may be available. So schedule a call or email me if you'd like to learn more. Now, back to calming those dysregulated emotions. Number 6, consider your expectations. I encourage you to take a step back and consider if your expectations are realistic for your child at that moment. Are they hungry? Are they tired? Maybe they're overstimulated. When we push our children too hard when they're already at their limit, emotional dysregulation is more likely to occur. Remember that you might need to adjust your expectations and give your child the grace they need to process their emotions. Now, it's also important to remember a child with ADHD or DMDD may have emotional maturity that is 3 to 4 years behind a peer of the same age. That's right, you heard that right. They may be 3 to 4 years behind someone of the same age. So is your expectation of their response taking this into account? Also, a dysregulated child is not even physiologically capable of being logical in those moments. So are you using logic, trying to rationalize, or are you just trying to stay calm, reduce the stimulation, and just be present? Number 7, give options to regain control. When your child is in distress, offering them a choice can give them a sense of control over the situation. You might say, would you like to sit on the couch and let me rub your back? Or do you want to lay down for a minute? Giving them a choice can often empower them and lets them feel more in control in a situation that they are likely feeling none. Many children have escalating behaviors in an attempt to control a situation where they do feel terribly out of control with their emotions. In fact, the more out of control their feelings are, the more desperate they may feel to control something. Offering choices helps put some of that control appropriately back in their hands. Number 8, consider touch and space. Some children need physical touch during overwhelming emotions to feel safe and calm, maybe grounded. A hug, a pat, or a hand being held might offer some children comfort or care. However, for others, it can be the exact opposite. They may need space. It might be that any kind of touch could be a trigger for further escalated behaviors and even explosions or becoming physically aggressive. So please be mindful of your child's unique needs and respond accordingly. It might be that a gentle hand on their back or offering a space to cool down could be just what they need. Number 9, meet a need with a tool. Sometimes it's not just about emotions. It might also be physical needs. Are they hungry or thirsty? Are they needing a material item to help calm? A calming snack, a favorite toy, a sensory tool, maybe some of that putty that they can stretch and pull on, a weighted blanket, or even just soothing comfort like a stuffed animal or a favorite fuzzy blanket can help ground them during a meltdown. It's not about distraction. It's about meeting their needs in a way that supports their emotional regulation. If you are at a loss as to what they might need, you might just set a couple options out in front of them. And you don't need to use more words to describe or make the offer to them, since remember, words can be more of a trigger at some points. Just make the items available. And then I encourage you to revisit this conversation with your child during a calm time. Find out what items they might want or need when they're feeling upset, and then you'll know what you can offer the next time. Number 10, reinforce connection. After a meltdown or emotional moment, it's so important to reinforce the connection between you and your child. Once regulated, a child might then appreciate a hug or physical touch in some way that they didn't want earlier, so that they can be assured that that connection and the relationship is intact and supportive, that you're not upset with them, that you're not mad at them, that you're not holding a grudge. Give them a hug. Offer those comforting words, or simply just sit with them. Rebuilding that emotional bridge shows them that no matter how big the feelings, no matter how intense the feelings, your love and connection remain unshaken. You might even do an activity with them and help them reorient back with the family, as this could be a time where they feel embarrassed or even humiliated that things went bad. Feeling like they have a team at this moment is essential to using even the tough moments as opportunities for growth. So don't be afraid to use those words with them. It's okay. We got through it. You know what? We really are a good team. I know that was rough, but we're a good team. While these 10 strategies are incredibly helpful for those in the moment meltdowns, it's equally important to plan ahead. Create strategies to help your child manage emotions long before things start to escalate. So here's how you can help your child cope with this emotional dysregulation outside of those crisis moments. Think and plan ahead. Have a plan in place for when emotional dysregulation might arise. We call it the Calm Care Plan. You might even consider building a sensory toolkit that includes calming items like stress balls, calming music, magazines with topics of interest, paper, crayons, sensory tools, favorite snacks, favorite stuffed animal. You can have a designated calm down space in the house where your child can retreat to when they're feeling overwhelmed. Helping them learn to read their bodies and moving to this space early is a really great step in helping them learn to manage emotions when they're still smaller and easier to control. Having these items available makes it easier for a child to seek that calm space, especially when there are tools there that are desirable and effective in helping them calm down. You might even ask your child to help you put together that calm kit. I also encourage you to work on problem solving. Help your child practice problem solving skills so that they can navigate these intense emotional situations more effectively. Talk through scenarios in advance and maybe even role play what they can do when they're feeling upset. For example, teaching them to take those deep breaths, walking away from a frustrating situation, or to talk through what made them upset rather than just acting out. You might even talk about those situations before you get into them. Gyms can be loud, sometimes noisy or frustrating. If you're feeling frustrated or like you need a break, what can we do while we're there? Where do you think we can go if you need a break from the gym? How can you let me know you need a break? Communicate ahead of time, role play, and offer options that fit your child's personality. Expecting them as an introvert to walk into a crowd of people to tell you that they need your help is not effective problem solving. What would their personality be capable of doing when they're feeling under pressure, stressed, and overwhelmed? Maybe planning check-ins outside of the gym to make sure all is well ahead of time. But problem solve, finding things that fit their communication and emotional needs and personality styles. And I encourage you to reinforce those coping strategies. Practice those strategies outside of those emotional moments. This might include practicing some deep breathing, counting to 10, talking about how they're feeling. The more your child practices these skills out of the moment, the easier it will be for them to use them in the heat of the moment. In the moment, they might feel hokey or triggering, and your child may reject them. But if your child has been familiar with some calming activities that they use routinely, they will be more accepting during a time of need because it doesn't feel so unfamiliar or weird. And of course, you're going to hear this here often, build connection time. Another great way to support your child's emotional regulation is by setting aside purposeful connection time each day. Spend even just a few minutes simply talking, playing, or connecting on their level. It's not just about problem solving, but about reinforcing that no matter how big the emotions are, they always have a loving, secure place with you. You're a team. Conveying to them, I know you. I like you. You know what? I understand you. I'm here for you, even when things feel rough. So invest in that one-on-one time routinely to keep that connection strong and growing. You just might be surprised at the difference it can really make. So there you have it. These strategies are a toolkit that will help your child through challenges of emotional dysregulation, not just in the moment, but in ways that will build an effective emotional vocabulary, as well as resilience and emotional intelligence for their future. Remember, there's no magic switch to just fix emotional dysregulation. It's a process. But you're doing the right thing by learning these tools and putting them into practice in your family. With time, patience, and a lot of love, you'll help your child manage those emotions in healthy, effective ways. And over time, you'll create lasting change that fosters stronger, more connected relationships. As always, if you want more support and strategies, check out the resources available through the Parenting with Personality Facebook group, where we have periodic coffee with a coach sessions. That's right. In fact, we have one Thursday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time where you could just come and talk and ask questions, brainstorm, just be in the presence of like-minded parents that truly get it. And you might also want to check out that Calm Connection Parent Coaching Program since we are starting a new group soon. I'm so excited. I'm here to help guide you as you help your child grow in controlling those intense emotions and baffling behaviors. So visit calmconnectionparent.com/resources to find more tools and some helpful, even free resources for your parenting journey. And as always, if you found today's episode helpful, share it with a friend who could use these strategies as well. And be sure to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep connecting, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep growing alongside your child. Well, that's it for today, but the journey to calm parenting doesn't stop here. If you are nodding in agreement, laughing, or maybe even crying, don't worry, we've all been there. Make sure to share this podcast with a friend who might need it too. Don't forget to connect with us at parentingwithpersonality.com or join our Parenting with Personality Facebook group. I'd love to support you there. And until next time, you've got this. Just keep calm and parent on.